let's move on to the match preview. Hoffenheim against Tottenham, Europa League, second to last game. When you're looking at the table, it doesn't make for the best of reading because, you know, we put ourselves in such a great position, didn't we, after the first 3 games. And then the Galatasaray game comes, the Rangers game comes. We failed to win in either of those.
And then obviously the Roma last-minute goal has been
the
a killer.
Roma one as well. So, I mean, we did so well in the first 3, then the last 3 we were really poor. But where I'm just getting the table up in front of me, we're sitting in 9th place. The 2 teams above us in Rangers and Manchester United. I can't believe Manchester United are above us, by the way, with how poorly they started the campaign. Rangers and Manchester United play each other, so that's a positive for us. But we play a team in Hoffenheim who is sitting 27th, picked up 6 points in 6 games in the Europa League so far. They've had a horrific season. Kramaric did an interview 2 weeks ago, and he was like, basically, he literally said on national TV in Germany saying, our season has been shit.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
And
he said, if I wanted to say what I really felt, I'd probably get the biggest fine in Bundesliga history, he said.
Yeah. So it's clear that all is not well in that camp at the moment over in Hoffenheim. But with them being on 6 points with 6 games played, they will have a bit of extra incentive just to put everything in it. Maybe the fans will be behind it in the stadium as well because they're only a point outside the top 24.
Yeah.
So this is a massive game for us in terms of getting in top 8, and this is a massive game for them in terms of just survival in the competition.
Definitely, and they need to, obviously they're probably going to be looking to build on their win on the weekend. They got their first win in I don't know how long they won. In terms of like competitive games,
the previous win was
the end of November.
Yeah, against Leipzig.
They won 4-3. So shows they're still capable. When beat. I know Leipzig having a great season as well, but they beat this team Kiel. I think they're like bottom of the Bundesliga. They got Lewis Holtby playing for them, that team. So probably not the best team. They do have picked up a few draws. They drew with Dortmund not so long ago. They drew with Freiburg 1-0. But yeah, they've lost obviously a lot of games, and they had a proper relegation battle in the Bundesliga. I'm looking at injuries, and it's very similar to us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They've got 11 injuries.
Wow.
With a suspension, I think, going. Oh, sorry, I'm not sure if there's suspension going to this game, but a suspension last game. Let me see if there's any suspensions. No, but one thing I'm looking at here is their central midfielder Grilic, who was out last game. I think he's been out for a bit. Is set to be back this game, and he's a big player for them. Grilic, I'm a big fan of his. So his back could be that'll be really big for them. Obviously, Kramaric he's previously. I think has he been top goal scorer in Bundesliga previously, or definitely been up there?
He's been up there, yeah,
with some of the top goal scorers.
They've got 7 injuries going into this.
Hojek as well, the Czech player.
Adam
Hojek, yeah, he was playing for Leverkusen, and he's a really tricky player as well. Berisha is a good player up top. Bauman's quite an experienced keeper. He's been there for a while. Oliver Baumann, he's not bad. So they do have talent there for sure. And if they put it together, they're clearly, I think, for me, they're a lot better than what the table suggests when it comes to their Bundesliga. I just think maybe they're having a similar season to us where they've got massive injuries and don't have the squad to cope with it. They got Europa League football as well, and it's led to them sliding down the table. But it's also, you got the prospect of potentially coming up against a wounded animal who maybe with the win on the weekend see an opportunity to turn their fortunes around, which probably bad timing for us.
Yeah. Yeah, it depends. I mean, they've got a win against one of the whipping boys in the Bundesliga, against Holstein Kiel, I think it was. So I think even with the form that they were in, I think Holstein Kiel were probably on just as bad form, if not worse form, going into the game. So it was probably a game where even after the big, bad results that they've had, they still probably expected to go into that game and win. So is that win going to really boost their confidence? I'm not too sure.
It won't hurt.
No, of course it won't hurt, but Spurs as well are going into this in really low confidence. So I feel like it could be 2 teams just really struggling for confidence, and maybe you won't see the greatest game of football. And maybe it will just take some sort of magic in a game, something to happen in the game to really just spark it into life, and then some team can really gain some momentum and some confidence within the game.
Yeah, that's what we're going to have to try. We're going to have to try and take it by the scruff of the neck, and we're obviously going to have to try and take it to them. When you look, the reality is a draw isn't good enough, but it does keep us in the hunt in terms of that top 8. But obviously, if we get 2 wins, you're pretty much I think you are. We'll be guaranteed that top 8 if we win 2 for sure. So I think that if we obviously going to have to go for the win, and it's going to be a big task for a lot of, especially some of these young players performing in a crunch game. A lot of these players running on empty for us as well. So it's going to be difficult. You're going to have.
I would say 4 points does it for us.
I think 4 points.
4 points will be in the top 8.
I would say 4 points. I haven't done the maths on this, but looking at the table and looking at some of the teams who play each other, I think 4 points. You probably got about a 75% chance. I would say of making it. I would say something like that. You might still not make it if you get 4 points, but I think the odds will be in your favour for sure. 6 and you're there because Man United play Rangers, so you're guaranteed to be there. I actually did the other day. They actually have a predictor app on the Europa League website, and I was a bit bored, so I just filled in all the results, what my little predictions were. I had us on 4 points just to see where we would finish, and with my predictions and us on 4 points, we actually did finish 8th, so we only just made it. But then again, if you change a couple other results around, we could finish as high as 6th with the 4 points. But as I had it, we finished 8th.
Obviously, we finished top.
I don't know. I can't remember. I just was focusing on Tottenham. But yeah, so it's not guaranteed, even with 4 points. But I do think we should be all right.
You probably didn't have Galatasaray not beating Dynamo Kiev, and they drew 3-3 at home to Dynamo Kiev yesterday.
Correct. Yeah, probably, yeah. So,
I mean, you just can't. I mean, Europa League is so hard to predict, isn't it? Game by game and week by week. I do think if we get 4 points, it's not a guarantee, but I think it's more than likely that we will finish in the top 8.
I agree with you. I think if you aim for 4 points, you should get the job done. So a draw in this game is not the end of the world, but again, it just puts more pressure on that game next Thursday, which means that's a massive game. If you can just get the win here, that would really take the pressure off a lot, and also just give us a bit of a confidence boost going into the next couple of games, which we really need, I feel.
Yeah, I definitely think that Ange will not be trying that 3 at the back experiment again going into. Well, we don't have the centre backs. We don't have the centre backs to do it, but yeah, look, I think I just wanna be really confident going into this game, but as well, just the whole situation of it, and as well on top of that, we're just not good travellers in Europe, even at the best of times.
Yeah, and also we just obviously came off the back of a game where we've probably played a team maybe in worse form than Hoffenheim and lost quite significantly. So off the back of that, there's a lot of worry of how bad could it get really, because that performance was obviously extremely worrying against Everton. The fact that you're 3-0 down against a team who barely score a goal, albeit I know there's caveats, Moyes has come in, all that kind of stuff, but that shows you that if you're capable of that kind of result at this point, then who knows kind of where we're going to be at on Thursday. Really, it's a bit of a wait and see how we turn up. It's going to be extremely worrying. Obviously, we did get back to 3-2 once we moved, changed formation and everything, but still, the fact that we were so bad in that first 45, doesn't give you a lot of confidence going to a game against a team who are still a Bundesliga team, and they're in this competition because they finished high in the Bundesliga last year. So they're not a team that are any mugs, albeit they are in the relegation. They are battling for relegation right now. There is a fear that you come up against them. Are they just starting to turn a corner potentially with a win? Are they starting to get some players back? Grilic is a big player. He's coming back for this game. So they also are desperate for the points in this competition to keep themselves alive. So this is not going to be an easy game by any stretch.
And you look at how bad Spurs have been from a defensive point of view. If you bring up the form, they're actually a lot worse than us. They've conceded 10 goals in their last 5 to our 7. And it's hard to think. Have we conceded 7 in the last 5? Though?
Well, I guess I'm guessing you including Tamworth in that game, maybe, because they obviously kept a clean sheet there, and then obviously clean sheet against Liverpool. Was that in our last 5?
I guess it is, yeah.
Yeah, so there is 2 clean sheets there, but yeah, it makes sense because 3 against Everton, 2 against Arsenal, then 2 clean sheets, and then 2 against Newcastle. That's first 7, yeah.
And Hoffenheim, I guess their stats are a bit skewed as well because the game before that they played Bayern Munich,
And
the
5 goals.
best team in the league. But apart from that, they've conceded 1 to Wolfsburg, 2 for Mönchengladbach. They got a draw against Dortmund. They drew in their last Europa League game to FCSB. So they don't look as though they're like getting absolutely hammered week in, week out.
They're close games. So clearly they're not like, apart from the Bayern game, they're not getting destroyed and they're not like losing 3-4-0 every game. So that tells me this is probably going to be another close game against 2 teams who aren't very confident and 2 teams kind of trying to find some sort of way out of the situations they're in. And I think it could be one. It could be one where 1 goal decides it. It could be one where both teams have their moments, and just whoever can get the ball in the back of the net is going to be all important. I think obviously the first goal, I say that a lot of the time, it's important, but you know, at Tottenham we have scored the first goal a few times recently and gave it up. So it's not like it's a massive like game changer, but yeah, it's different. I can't sit here and say we're definitely going to win because even though we're playing a Bundesliga team near the bottom of the table, there's just no guarantees with us right now in any game.
Yeah,
can't even beat Tamworth in not 90 minutes. There's no guarantees.
Yeah. So look, difficult, and also home advantage is going to play a massive effect. I think because it's such a pivotal game, especially for them to secure their Europa League kind of to stay in the competition. I think their fans are going to make it a bit of an atmosphere in Germany, and the beer in Germany is going to be flowing. I don't know how many Spurs fans are going out there, but I'm seeing plenty of tickets doing the rounds on social media and stuff like that. So. Yeah, look, it's going to be incredibly hard, whatever you want to say about it. However poor you think Hoffenheim are, Spurs are playing very poorly at the moment as well. So we just got to go there. We got to go there with try and muster up a bit of confidence wherever you found it, for a bit of siege mentality, and then just find a goal or 2 early and try and put this game to bed. But Hoffenheim are going to have their own ambitions, and I feel it's going to be very difficult, and I feel probably a draw is in the offing in this game, unfortunately.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm trying to see who they've been their kind of best players so far this season. We've got their top goals in Holzek in the Europa League, but yeah, Kramaric obviously. He's got 7 Bundesliga goals still, so he's still keeping up some sort of standards.
He's massively underperforming in terms of what he usually does, though.
Holzek has got 5 goals as well for them this season. Again, he was a good, obviously Leverkusen. He was part of that team that were flying last season with them. In terms of who's like getting a lot of assists for them, not just Bischoff, not many. So they are struggling. They are one of the lowest, I think, goal scorers. I was looking at the Bundesliga this season. 18 games, they've scored 23 goals. So that puts them, I think, only 1, 2, 3, only 4 teams have scored less than them, and only 3 teams have conceded more than them. So that's why they're in the situation they're in. They're not scoring a lot of goals, and they tend to concede quite a lot. But as you say, recently they have definitely had a few draws, albeit there's been some losses, but they've had a few draws against the likes of Dortmund, Freiburg, FCSB. So they're definitely
Dortmund
capable.
Have been shocking this season, though. That's
true, but they are just shows they're capable of. So have we. You know what I mean? That just shows they're capable of getting some sort of a result in these kind of games. They've shown in recent.
And the draw
weeks.
doesn't really do much for Hoffenheim. They need a win.
Yeah. So it would be interesting if we are drawing and going to the last 10 minutes, who really goes for it and who settles for the result or anything like that, or would it be both teams really just going for it?
In their last game, they got to go away to Anderlecht, which won't be an easy game. Mm-hmm. So I mean, they've got 2 hard games now. So they need to get 3 points. They need to get 3 points, and I think Spurs, whatever you want to say, I don't think before the game you take a draw, but a draw's not the worst result.
No. No, it's not the worst result. I think, as I say, it keeps us in the hunt for that top 8. It'll be a bit of a blow because obviously it just leaves the chance of you missing out increases, to be honest, and it leaves it open. But it just leaves you in the fight going to that last game, and if you win it, there's a good chance you'll probably be in that top 8. So I wouldn't mind a draw, but I think I wouldn't take one now if you offered it to me.
Have we won any away? We beat Ferencvaros.
Ferencvaros, who are quite good at home, to be fair to them.
Well, where are Ferencvaros in it? They can't be that high, can they?
Ferencvaros, they're 22nd.
You know what I mean?
No, I'm saying in general. Oh, sorry, that's Fenerbahce. They're 16th.
I'm just
not bad.
Actually, you know what? They've won 2 home games and lost one.
I think before we went there, we there was a stat that, they had a very good home record at home in Europe.
Because they're the best team. Oh, in Europe, yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But yeah, look, that is the match preview. Hoffenheim against Spurs. Unfortunately, me and Sim are not at the stadium. We're not on the watch long either. We're going to watch the game with my grandpa tomorrow, so very much looking forward to that. In terms of in the studio, you have got Iggy and Barry with you. So
Come on.
tune in for the watch long tomorrow, 5:45 kickoff. A nice early one for you guys to start your evening with. And that is that. So thank you, everyone, for joining us for that match preview.